Trying to keep up with every announced, confirmed PSVR2 game is practically impossible, and every week reveals another handful of rumors and another developer saying that they have plans to bring their game to Sony's next-gen headset, which is looming on the horizon. And really, at this point, any developer making a VR game absolutely has their sights set on PSVR2, so expect a lot more announcements to be coming very soon. But for the time being, here's every PlayStation VR2 game that's confirmed to be in development. Alvo's the first, but certainly won't be the last PSVR1 game that'll be confirmed to be also coming to PlayStation VR2. Expect to hear about quite a few games getting visual upgrades or total overhauls to take advantage of both the next-gen specs and the new VR audience that PSVR2 will attract. The PSVR1 was a great place for horror games, so seeing that there are already indie developers out there committed to bringing more of them to PSVR2 really warms my cold dead heart. Afterlife is getting great reviews on Steam, so this budget title looks like a day one purchase for me. Aftershow Games pulled the PSVR1 version of Among Us VR from their release calendar, removing one of the last big hopes we had for the year. We were collectively pretty disappointed. That said, I'm sure the player base would have been practically non-existent. So getting Among Us VR as a PSVR2 launch title, well, that's not a bad consolation prize, and at least we know it'll have a long, healthy life. Originally called The Vanishing Act, there's actually not a lot of information out there about Maze Theory's supposed PSVR2 launch title, now simply known as ENGRAM. Though, according to the developers, the core premise of the game is exploring memories, and they're working on ways to, quote, achieve a heightened range of emotional experiences. I think we all know that Cyan Worlds makes great games, Myst, Riven, Abduction, but their last PSVR1 port was just an absolute mess with insanely blurry graphics and load screens every 5 seconds, not to mention forced teleportation and blinders. So hopefully with the power of the PlayStation 5 and PSVR2, they'll be able to deliver the immersive experience we all want when Firmament comes our way. The follow-up to Exorcist Legion VR is bound to be something a little bit different. While we haven't seen any screenshots yet, we do know that it'll be co-op, and strangely, isn't being developed by Wolf & Wood, who made the first game. This one seems like it was announced a little bit early, and honestly, I think what we all really want is a PSVR2 version of Phasmophobia, which I personally think could be in the works as well. We're still waiting to see and learn more about Endream's next game, Ghostbusters VR. We know it's multiplayer. Actually, I think that's all we know, but luckily it's coming to us from a studio we have a lot of faith in, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing some actual gameplay and hearing about the moment-to-moment stuff when they drop their next trailer. Golf Plus is currently the only golf game announced for PSVR2, so it's also the best one by default. And it looks okay, I guess, but its Oculus roots are obvious, making me really hope that developer Claphands are trying their hand at another Everybody's Golf VR, but you know, with multiplayer, more courses, and far less catty interactions. Confirmed for a late 2023 release, Green Hell VR adds multiplayer to the survival genre, with a ton of resources to gather, crafting, and obviously hunting. We're fully expecting the PSVR2 release to be a conversion of the full PC original, rather than the truncated Quest port that just got released. And Deep Type Games has taken us on a ride with HELLSPLIT Arena. First it was coming to PSVR, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and now, well, it's not. But it is coming to PSVR2, according to the developers. It's an arena fighter similar to Blade and Sorcery and Swordsman, so by the time it hits PlayStation VR2, hopefully it still has the chops to compete. The new Call of the Mountain footage that was revealed less than 2 weeks ago at Sony's own State of Play was far more impressive than anyone expected, featuring some amazing environments, animations, climbing, swimming, combat, crafting, and more. That said, we still have a ton of questions. Is there stealth? Do we fight more than one machine at once? Is Call of the Mountain more of an Uncharted-like guided experience, or an open world like traditional Horizon games? My bet is the former rather than the latter, and that's perfectly fine by me. KAYAK VR Mirage is a realistic physics-based simulation with asynchronous multiplayer and casual free roam modes, but above and beyond anything else, it looks simply stunning. A perfect match for PSVR2. Built as a completely open and non-linear cyberpunk world, Lo-Fi lets you play however you want. You can build and earn credits by patrolling the skies and handing out tickets, hanging out in the arcade and playing games, or trying your luck at the casino. There's also weapons and weapon upgrades, and everyone who's played the early builds of this one comes away fairly impressed. Lead developer on Lo-Fi, Blair Renaud, has said it's coming to PlayStation VR2, and from what we've seen, it seems like a perfect fit. MADISON is a first-person psychological horror game that delivers an immersive and terrifying experience. With the help of an instant camera, connect the human world with the beyond, take pictures and develop them by yourself. Solve puzzles, explore your surroundings, but most importantly, survive. A massive medieval open 3D world awaits, so be aware of harsh winters and unexpected events while honing your skills to turn from a medieval survivor into the ruler of a dynasty. Grab your axe, hammer, or hunting bow and craft your legacy. Okay, we're genuinely excited about Medieval Dynasty VR, but if we're reading this correctly, it seems like the game is getting a Quest 2 port and then being brought over to PSVR2, which is worrying for obvious reasons. It shouldn't come as a huge surprise that No Man's Sky will have PSVR2 support. Over the years, the team at Hello Games has updated their game pretty much constantly, even being one of the few PS5 games that's fully playable on PSVR1. We're expecting this to be a massive upgrade in the graphics department, but also for it to take full advantage of the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback in the Sense controllers and headset. Back in March of last year, Bankrupt Games revealed that their modern military multiplayer shooter PAVLOV VR would be coming to PlayStation VR2, making it one of the first games confirmed for Sony's new VR headset. The news came on the heels of Bankrupt CEO confirming that they'd become a PlayStation partner, and then followed it up with the news that when it launches on PSVR2, it'll be crossplay with the Quest versions as well. Proudly inspired by games such as Resident Evil or Silent Hill, the Bounds VR puts you into a mansion surrounded by the swamps of New Orleans, investigating your daughter's disappearance. Move around and explore the floors of the once luxurious Paradise Hotel, now in an apocalyptic setting using advanced game mechanics, realistic weapon handling, self-healing, environment searching, puzzles, along with a dynamic map and inventory. If you've been following along since State of Play, you already know the controversy surrounding Resident Evil 4. At the end of the original trailer, Capcom showed a few first-person scenes and stated that PSVR2 content is in development. That segment of the trailer was later stripped out of both the PlayStation and Capcom's YouTube channels, and during Capcom's showcase, they didn't even mention it. So what's happening? Hopefully, we'll know more at Sony's next event, which sounds like it could be happening sooner, rather than later. Resident Evil Village had been so heavily rumored for PSVR2 for so long that when Sony finally showed it off at their last State of Play, it felt like breathing a huge sigh of relief. Plus, Capcom has been adamant that it's VRAF, with the ability to toss weapons from one hand to another, push open doors with your hands, and more. So for everyone who put off playing Village hoping for a PSVR2 version, well, our excitement for this potential launch title is at an all-time high. Developer Truant Pixel, previously known for their arcade hit 2MD VR Football, is taking a stab at something a little different with PSVR2. In their new game Runner, an obvious homage to Akira, an anime from the late 80s, you're trying to escape a futuristic city on motorcycle, taking down waves of enemies and bosses as you weave in and out of traffic through 7 cyberpunk dystopian levels. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution looks to take the formula of one of the best VR games ever made and blow it out of the water with more story, more items to craft, boss fights, more weapons, including a much requested chainsaw to take down the undead with, not to mention the new French Quarter setting, making Chapter 2 seem less like glorified DLC and far more like the full-fledged sequel we were hoping for. Samurai Slaughterhouse is looking great with an artistic style somewhat reminiscent of the Wii classic Mad World. Think Swordsman VR, but with NPCs and quests, and you're starting to get the right idea. The one-man team at Tab Games has been hard at work on this one for a while, and reportedly even met with Sony to make Samurai Slaughterhouse a PSVR2 pack-in game. So whether that ends up being the case or not, we should be seeing this one on PlayStation VR2 around launch. This footage of Soul of KAERU is admittedly extremely early in development, but it's great to see an indie studio try their hand at the Moss-style formula. Third-person games in VR have their own unique charm, so hopefully Soul of KAERU can deliver something special. Electric Hat Games recently revealed their follow-up to the Top called Super Kit to the Top. It was recently announced to be a PlayStation VR2 title. The art direction, thankfully, looks to have been completely redone and looks better than ever, with levels that now feature enemies and combat. Ultra Wings was an early favorite on PSVR1, so when developer BitPlanet Games announced their sequel for PSVR2, there was reason to be excited. Like any good sequel, there's more of everything, and this time the game features a ton of optional combat missions. We are hoping though that it gets a full visual overhaul before this built for Quest 2 game hits PlayStation VR2. Featuring roguelike and RPG elements, Wandering in Space is a first-person shooter where you control a survivor in a wrecked spaceship, create powerful builds with various weapons and special abilities, and defy death to fight mutants and armed survivors. A lot of developers have confirmed they have PSVR2 games in development, but aren't quite ready to tell us exactly what they're working on. Strange Game Studios of Honor and Duty fame have an aerial combat game in the works with a huge focus on multiplayer, and possibly plans for co-op missions. Pistol Whip developers claiming they have next-gen VR games in the works with deeper scope and vision compared to what's come before. COATSINK Games, who most recently made Jurassic Park Aftermath, says they have a PSVR2 launch title in development, though details on that are extremely scarce. Job listings have suggested that FIRESPRITE, makers of The Persistence, have a AAA horror game in development, which is guaranteed to be a hybrid title, and a LinkedIn page has confirmed that First Contact Entertainment also has a PSVR2 game in development. Okay, so that's it for now, but let's be honest, this list is bound to be outdated within just a matter of weeks, so I'll do my best to keep it updated with every new major announcement that we get. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.